Hi everyone. I've got another story here for you, which you'll find some tasks for in your home learning. This story is called Duffy's Lucky Escape. Can you see what type of animal Duffy is? She's a turtle. Hope you like it. Once, off an island far, far away in the sun and the sea, lived a beautiful sea turtle called Duffy. She swam happily in the warm, clear waters of her coral reef, searching for tasty jellyfish and shimmering shoals of fish to eat. She liked to dive down into the sandy sea floor to munch on waving beds of delicious seagrass, and then she would float gently up to the surface to bask in the hot tropical sun. Sounds lovely. One day, a wild and ferocious storm whipped the sea up into towering waves which crashed down on poor Duffy. The storm raged on, sending her spinning and tumbling away from her home, pushing her far out to sea. After the storm, the sea became calm once more. Duffy found herself surrounded by strange shadows and unknown creatures that slid past her in the dark and murky waters. Duffy was hungry and began to search for food, desperately trying to find the rocks and the reefs of home. Flashes of colour started to dance and twirl in front of her, like the shimmering fish she remembered from her old coral reef. Slowly at first, then faster and faster, she chased these colourful shapes, snapping them up in her mouth and gulping them down. Can you see what it is? Strange objects were floating around Duffy and looked like a jellyfish in the gloomy waters. They had short tentacles and balloon-shaped bodies, and they wallowed slowly in the drifting currents. Duffy thought that they were food and reached out through the water to swallow their slimy bodies into her rapidly filling tummy. Can you see what it is? Don't look like jellyfish to me. For a long time, Duffy floated and rested on the surface as she was starting to feel strange inside her shell. Her tummy was hurting her, and a light, bubbly feeling kept gurgling up through her body. She longed for some cool seagrass to soothe her aching tummy, but she couldn't dive deep enough to reach any. She didn't understand what was happening to her, as her once powerful flippers felt weak and her body kept pulling her back to the surface. Duffy heard a roaring and whining noise circling around her. It scared and confused her so much that she didn't know which way to go. Suddenly she was pulled backwards and lifted up high out of the water onto a fisherman's boat. She lay quiet and still, frightened by the noise and the smells of people who had rescued her. The fishermen had seen turtles like this before, floating and not able to dive, and they knew that Duffy needed help. The kind fishermen poured seawater over Duffy so she could stay cool on their journey back to safety and peace of the Turtle Hospital. At the Turtle Hospital, there were lots of blue tanks filled with clear running water, which were homes to other sick turtles. Gentle hands cleaned and scraped the seaweed from her shell. Duffy was fed fresh fish, octopus, and jellyfish to build up her strength, but the pain inside her tummy grew. Duffy was placed on a special bed with vets looking after her. As she drifted off to sleep, she dreamt of the beach where she was born. While she slept, she had an X-ray taken of her which showed the food that she had eaten after the storm was not colourful fish or jellyfish, but plastic bags and bits of old drink bottles and crisp wrappers which people had thrown away and had washed into the sea or been left on the beach. Can you see them there? The plastic rubbish floating in the sea had tricked Duffy to look like food, and she had gobbled it up, which that made her very sick. The vets had to operate on Duffy to remove the plastic from her stomach, otherwise she would have died. Duffy was lucky as she started to recover. She grew stronger and heavier again. Her shells started to shine, her flippers were powerful, and her body was healthy. She moved into a large tank with creatures she remembered from her reef, darting colourful shoals of tropical fish, large lumbering sharks, and gliding rays. Duffy felt relaxed, confident in her strong swimming and graceful diving, and she enjoyed being with her new friends in the aquarium while the visitors watched and smiled. Finally, the day came when Duffy was fully recovered and ready to be released back to her home. People gathered on the beach to watch Duffy being returned to the sea. The children eagerly peered into her crate to see her, and the news cameras took pictures for the whole country to see. Duffy was carried down to the beach where she looked around at the two lines of cheering people and at the shimmering ocean, and she remembered so well, and the strong hands released her, and finally she was free. She scrambled over the sand, instinct steering her down to the beach into the warm water, and then under the sea, a breath once more, and under again. Duffy happily swam back to her home among the reefs and the seagrass, free of all the plastic that the people had put into the sea, free to chase and hunt, to swim and dive once again. That story ended well. I was a bit worried for Duffy there. Take care. Bye-bye.